This meeting is for 1 hour and 15 minutes. Derrick G will be sharing on steps 2 and 3 for 50 minutes. Derrick, thank you for your service and your willingness to share your life with us today. We are delighted to have you with us for the second time. Please help me give a warm welcome to Derrick from Atlanta, Georgia. His home group is the I Can't, We Can group. Welcome, Derrick, and over to you.
Thank you so much. Derrick Alcoholic, what up, my people? What up, y'all? Wi-Fi. What's going on? Yeah, okay, I see your Wi-Fi. I ain't gonna leave you hanging. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be of service to the fellowship that changed my life. Y'all did, man. I'm so grateful. Every time I see y'all, it just gets me into another level of joy. And when I'm around y'all, it's another level of joy, a brand new joy. And, and I have, you guys and the power greater than ourselves to thank for that. When I was asked to share, I had to think about, what I wanted to share about. And this reading came to me. It's on page 29 of our big book. It says, each individual in the personal story is described in his own language and from his point of view, the way he established his relationship with God. These give a cross section of our membership and a clear-cut idea of what actually happened in their lives. We hope no one will consider these self-revealing accounts in bad taste. Our hope is that many alcoholic men and women desperately in need will see these pages and believe that it is only through fully disclosing ourselves and our problems that they will be persuaded to say, yes, I am one of them too. I must have this thing. Yeah, and when that jumped out to me, it immediately brought me to step 2 and 3. Now, the synergy of step 1 for me is contained throughout every single one of those steps. I discovered I am powerless as I went through the entire process. How did I, and it was little things that showed me how I was powerless. I was powerless because, in the second step, I didn't quite understand. That I was insane. It took some power greater than me had to reveal that, boy, you is insane. I just thought I was crazy. I really thought I was crazy. And it took a power greater than me, and that was you guys, every one of y'all in this room to show me, no, Derrick, you're not crazy. You are freaking insane, boy. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful for every one of y'all to teach me that. It also I was powerless to, on my own, make a decision to turn my will and my life over to the care of God. As I understood him, I was powerless to even do that. I was powerless to write a 4th step. I could not get motivated to write a 4th step. I was powerless to tell my sponsor, hey, man, I'm ready to do this 5th step. Like, I'm ready to, and get thorough with them and honest. I was powerless to, each one of those steps, but I will hopefully in my share describe how I came to believe that a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity and how I made that decision to turn my will and my life over to the care of God as I understood him. Wow. So let's see, where should I start? Let's start with childhood. Here we go. Let's start there. I was born to a indigenous Seminole minister. My dad, he's Seminole. He was a minister. He wasn't in my life much. He really was not around much. And the only time I hung out with my dad or spent any time with my dad was when he picked us up and took us to church. No vacations, no Disney Worlds, no baseball games. He's going to pick us up and we're going to go to church. That's all we did. Maybe I get lucky and we go to McDonald's afterwards, but that was probably the thrill of the whole experience with my dad. My mom was an Indigenous Creek registered nurse. So again, she really didn't spend much time. Most of her time was going to work and working and doing great mother things on that side of it. But one thing they both had in common was they both were alcoholic, you know. And if you grew up in an alcoholic home, you know the anxiety I'm talking about, you know. You know, the nervousness, not knowing who's going to come home. Is that alcoholic mom going to come home, or if that caregiver, that registered nurse, that mom's going to come home? So it was always a lot of fear growing up. And my mom got cancer. It was very tragic growing up, you know, a lot of beatings, a lot of abuse. When my mom decided to discipline me, her best instrument of discipline was an extension cord. So there was a lot of pain, a lot of, oh, you don't love me. Like, why do you beat me like this? But I'm sharing that because, you know, I've learned that to a child, the voice of their mother is God, you know. And I couldn't see that at the time. I didn't want to see that at the time, but I feared my mom as I later began to look at God in the same manner. And yeah, it was tough. It was tough. I would hear in the rooms that we never felt comfortable in our own skin. And I felt that way. I remember there was a kid named DeMarco, and this kid was, to me, he was the kid in the neighborhood. He was the captain of the football team, you know, with a Pop Warner football team. This dude could backflip. You know, this dude, he could do good backflips, like flip, flop, hold, those backflips. And even without a mattress, because we used to try it on a mattress, but DeMarco could do it without that. And I remember looking at DeMarco, like, you know, and, you know, that feeling of not being comfortable in your own skin. And I remember looking at DeMarco like, bro, how do you know how to do stuff? How do you know how to do stuff, bro? Like, I don't even know what I'm doing living, bro. And here it is. Everybody loves you, dude. How? You know? Well, my mom got cancer, and I remember the last night I spent with my mom, I was watching the 700 Club, and on there, this lady on the 700 Club, she had she had cancer, and her cancer was in remission, and she said a prayer that would set the tone for the rest of my life. And I didn't even know I was doing it, you know, but this prayer would set the tone for the rest of my life. She said I was about to die. And I remember looking up at the ceiling, and I remember saying, not my will, but thy will be done. And I heard her say that, and I felt this energy come from that television when she said it. So I laid right next to my mom, and I held her hand, and I looked up in the ceiling. And I said, not my will, but thy will be done. The next day, a bittersweet moment happened. The next day, my mom died from breast cancer. And I call it bittersweet because that was my mom, y'all. Yet, I didn't have to get those beatings no more, y'all. I didn't have to take that abuse no more. I didn't have to feel the sting in the lash of that extension cord just for making mistakes, you know? So I was sitting out on my front porch, and my boy Dave came over to me. I was crying my heart out because I didn't know where we were going to live. I didn't know who was going to take care of us. I didn't know how I was going to make it through. And Dave came across the street. Dave to the rescue. And Dave said, come on, D, you got $1? And I was like, yeah. He's like, let's walk to the candy house. And I said, okay. So we walked to the candy house. I'm still crying. My face all tore up. My mom died. I'm still full of fear. And we walk in the candy house, and the candy house lady knew me because I was a chubby kid with dimples. So she knew me. I probably put one of her kids through college. I had visited her candy house so much, but she was like, baby, we don't have no Snickers today, because she saw me messed up and she knew I like Snickers. And she was like, Dave said, nah, we don't want Snickers. We want a 40. And she said, oh, okay. So we went in the backyard at age 14. I went in her backyard, reached in her cooler, and I purchased my first alcohol, a 40 ounce of Old English. And walking through the hood, I felt like I was the man with that 40 ounce of Old English, y'all. Come on. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I had thick. I was there, man. So I cracked the seal on that 40 ounce like I seen those grown men do in the neighborhood. Cracked the seal on it and took a big swig of that 40 ounce. And it tastes like gorilla piss. I was like, oh, what? Is this what you guys been drinking? Oh my gosh. And I looked around and everybody was smiling. So I played the part. But my first experience with that 40 ounce was drink it all. After I had that first drink, something just said, drink the whole thing, dude. Don't stop. Just keep drinking it so you can get used to the taste. Drink it. Just keep drinking it. And y'all know what happened. When I drank that 40 ounce, y'all know that feeling. I got the power. Yeah. I'm partying. I got the power. I had forgot my mom died. I got the power. Come on, y'all. Y'all know what I'm talking about. See, I felt power when I drank. I felt a power come through me. Yeah. And y'all know that was my first drink. My last drink was July 17th of 2020. That was my last drink. And I was drinking for a different reason at that moment. Yeah, I still wanted power. But at that moment, I wanted the power to end it all. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I wanted alcohol to give me the power and the courage to end what I call this life I was living. And guess what? It stopped working. It stopped working, y'all. And I remember showing up to the meeting on July 18th of 2020. That's my sobriety date. And my sponsor walking up to me and he was like, Derrick, I've been seeing you come around these meetings, man. I've been seeing you sneaking and drinking in these meetings, man, and picking up sober chips, and you weren't really being honest. And yeah, man, I'm gonna tell you right now, bro, you just too sick to rely on the fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous alone to keep you sober, bro. You must connect with a power greater than yourself and go through this process as it's outlined in this big book. And I was ready. We read all the different descriptions of being powerless through the big book. Still in my insanity, I didn't understand how I connected to this big book at all. And I tell the guys I work with now, hey man, if you have a problem believing in power greater than yourself, let's just start with spooky. Let's start believing in spooky. Because this book got real spooky at first, I'm going to give you an example of how it got spooky. So we got Jim the car salesman, right? Y'all remember that guy who through his insanity lost his business and everything. And I couldn't relate to Jim at first because I never owned a business. My father never owned a business and passed it down to me or anything. I couldn't relate. But when I was ready, I related to Bill because I had lost a lot. Yeah, he lost that car dealership, and I had lost a lot too. So, I can definitely relate to Jim on that, And another thing I related to was, the in We Agnostics, where it says, if you honestly want to, and you cannot quit entirely. I couldn't quit entirely. And I honestly wanted to. Or if when drinking you have little control over the amount you take, you are probably alcoholic. I would say, oh, I'm just going to have a couple, then wake up out of a blackout and I did what? I was drinking against my own will. My will was to only have a couple. And I would come to and not know where I was. So I worked through the process. We get through step 1 and we get to step 2. And my sponsor, he said, Derrick, what's your conception of a power greater than yourself? I can hear my mother's voice saying things like, Derrick, you don't believe fire will burn you and fat meat is greasy. And Derrick, you will lie when the truth will do. I could hear that voice, echo through in my mind, And we ran up on a section of the big book. And there's a solution that says, the alcoholic may say to himself in the most casual way, it won't burn me this time. So here's how. And it gave me chills because that was my mom's voice saying, Derrick, you don't believe fire is hot and fat meat is greasy. Then when we read leading up to the third step, when we read, they are naturally incapable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. That was my mom's voice saying, boy, you will lie when the truth will do. This voice kept echoing. And he said, Derrick, what's your conception of a power greater than yourself? And I said, well, I can make up one. And he said, wait. Derrick, you are insane. So your sick mind gonna create the creator? Is that what we doing? Your sick mind is gonna create the creator. He was like, nah, let's go with some conceptions you already have about this power. I said, oh, okay, well, God is love. Yeah, we've all heard that. God is intelligence. He has to be intelligence. This world, Bill even said that. It's like this world, just a whirling bunch of electrons with no point. Yeah, okay, I can get with that. Yeah, or God is wisdom. It takes a level of love and intelligence to have this perfect plan for the way a tree would grow, and a level of love and intelligence to have a system set up that feeds birds without human beings having to go out and feed them every single day, so there's some wisdom involved in that. So he was like, that's a good start. Let's start there. That's a good start. But I challenge you to dig deeper. And I challenge you to come up with a conception of a power greater than yourself, which nobody's ever called you before. And I said, okay. But we didn't stop there. We kept going through the process. And through that, I realized that lack of power was my dilemma. I had to find a power by which I could live. And it had to be a power greater than myself, my ego. I had a powerful ego. My ego had the ability to make me so delusional that I couldn't see that I kept burning myself. My ego had the power to make things so untrue that I didn't have to face them, to keep me in this imaginary world away from reality. I needed a power greater than my ego to have a chance. Well, that's what this book is exactly about. And that's what this book did for me. That's why I love this book of Alcoholics Anonymous. So through my meditations, through my prayers, through coming to meetings and hearing you guys share how your power loved you and how your power took care of you, how I heard the agnostics say, man, this changed my belief system. These steps changed my belief system in this power. And how I heard atheists say, I began to believe, man, in something. How I heard these things, you guys, and your shares and your honesty helped me come to believe that a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity. And there was a 4-letter word that appeared to me. And this 4-letter word brought up all kinds of prejudices. It brought up all kinds of old thinking and old ways. And it helped me get rid of those. This 4-letter word. And all I realized this 4-letter word means is absolute, lacking nothing, complete, whole. My sponsor told me, dude, you know what insane means? What? Insane means that you're one slice missing from a whole pie. And there are certain times in your life that you really need that slice, but that slice is not going to be there, dude. You need the whole pie. And there's a power that complete that pie. Sane means whole, right? Thus bringing me to this 4-letter word that, as Bill described it, felt like a mighty wind rushing through and through, and my intellectual pride melted away, and I stood in the sunlight at last. And that 4-letter word, y'all, was holy. No one has ever called me holy before. And I needed an absolute power, a holy power, to pull me out of the grips of this bear trap called alcoholism. I needed a power that was so absolute that it didn't even need me to give it a name to do what it was going to do. It didn't need me to call it God for it to love me way beyond my understanding. It didn't need me to give it a title for it to give me breath, an abundant breath. It didn't need me to give it a title to keep my heart beating, to keep my lungs working properly, for me to understand it, for it to continue to make my body function and heal without me making it heal. That's the power I needed. And when I realized that all holy meant was whole, I knew that it had that slice of the pie that I was missing. And in those moments that when I would go slap insane, it was there to restore me to sanity. It gave me sanity, and it could restore me to sanity. And it changed the way, like you guys said, that I believed in it. Made a decision in the 3rd step, which was, I'm going to tell you right now, that 3rd step decision was one of the best decisions I ever made in my entire life. I'm telling you, y'all. And I think, and again, you asked Derrick made some pretty good decisions in his life, but that 3rd step decision was the best decision I made in my life. And how it works it mentioned naturally incapable of being honest, naturally capable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. See, I had went to church, y'all. I told you my dad took me. And I just couldn't live the way they told me to live. This is the spookiness in Bill's story. Bill said it. I was like, bro, that is the best way to say it. Bill said, to Christ, I conceded the certainty of a great man, not too closely followed behind those that claimed him. His moral teaching, most excellent. For myself, I had adopted those parts that seemed convenient and not too difficult. The rest I disregarded. That was me. I could not grasp and develop that manner of living. I couldn't. It was just like, this stuff sounds good, but not so much. Not so much. You know? And I realized that finally being restored to sanity and going through the rest of the process, that I was like a man who had lost his legs. Never grow new ones. Why? Because I would get in these situations, right, that would feel uncomfortable. And I would act just like a man who lost his legs. When people lose their legs, they're constantly looking for something to help them move. They're constantly looking for something to help them get into a chair, get into a car, go up the stairs, come down the stairs, move around in the kitchen. They're constantly looking for something. And that's how I was with these thoughts and these actions. I was constantly looking for something to change the way I felt. Constantly. Whether it was alcohol, whether it was women, whether it was friends, those yes friends I had that agreed with everything I did, you know, those people. Whether it was attaboys, I was constantly looking for some form of validation, and nothing validated me like alcohol. But now I stood in the sunlight of an infinite, powerful, loving, incomprehensible loving, unimaginable love, unmerited love. Something I didn't have to work for. I couldn't work for it. I never could match up. And I realized that I needed that power greater than myself to access that power greater than myself. Y'all taught me that. I would have never been able to do this on my own. Step 2 taught me that. My will, my choices. See, I had to break it down simple. My will is my choices. My choices is my thinking and the decisions I make to make a move. Why I say that is because my father died and he didn't have a will. And we had to do a lot just to say that we were his children and everything he owned belonged to us. And I realized that if my father had a will, that will would have decided what happens after he left. So when I saw the word will in that 3rd step, I realized those are the choices, Derrick. What's going to take place after you leave? What's going to take place after you leave this ego in the hands and the care of a power greater than yourself? I thought I had to get rid of this ego. I thought I was supposed to hate my ego. But I love my ego. It kept me alive. It kept me alive. It helped with that restless, irritable, and discontentment that I was walking around with. It did it best. Yeah, I don't need it anymore like that. But it did its best. Oh, Derrick, I don't want you feeling like this. Let's go get a drink. Derrick, I don't want you to feel disrespected by this guy. Smack him in the face. You know, that ego. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. And I put that into the hands of God. My life, the actions I take, the actions that cause me to build my character behind, the actions that built this character defects, that built this energy that I thought was keeping me the person that I was. Wow. Over to the care of it. Because what I realized was I really was trying to get an Academy Award for playing God. That was the biggest role I was playing, and my ego kept me in the delusion that, no, Derrick, you're not playing God. No way, Derrick. You just, if they just act the way you want them to act, things will be okay, bro. Like, come on, man. Like, no, that's not playing God. But y'all told me that I had two alternatives. And if you're an alcoholic like me, you really don't have a choice. So I realized I had no choice in drink. I had two alternatives. That first alternative was to be doomed to an alcoholic death. The other alternative was to live life on a spiritual basis. And for an alcoholic like Derrick to hear that with an insane mind, that sounds like a close call, man. I don't know which one to choose between those two, y'all. I don't know. Alcoholic death? You mean I could drink till I die? Is that what you're saying? And give up all this I've gained through drinking? Is that what you're saying? And a spiritual basis? It's like what it says in A Vision for You on page 152. Am I to be stupid, boring, and glum like some righteous people I see? Like, I don't know. That's a toss-up, you know? And then in that third step, y'all gave me the benefit package. Y'all said, when we sincerely took such a position, so I'm going to work for somebody new, y'all. I'm going to go to work for a new employer, y'all. We had a new employer. Yeah, let me dig this benefit package. Let me dig the benefit package. Yeah, being all powerful, this new employer. Being all powerful, holy, absolute, powerful, Derrick. Yeah, he provided what we needed if we kept close to him and performed his work well. Established on such a footing, we became less and less interested in ourselves, our little plans and designs. More and more, we became interested in seeing what we could contribute to life as we felt new power flow in. Yeah, because lack of power was my dilemma. Yeah, and I felt that new power flow in. Yeah. Oh my goodness, I'm getting chills. We enjoyed a peace of mind. Yeah, y'all, my mind wouldn't shut up. My mind wouldn't leave me alone. You stupid, how could you do this, Derrick? Oh man, you're not good enough, dude. Don't walk into that room, dude. You're not good. You don't belong with those type of people. You know, I could enjoy a peace of mind. As we discovered we could face life successfully I had been trying so many different ways to be successful in life. And here it was. I was looking at people that drank like I drank, that drank like Jim the car salesman and had lost a lot also. You know, I had been looking at people who came to these rooms broken like me, who couldn't stop drinking, who only lived to drink, one might say. And here it was, y'all were successful. If you want what we have and are willing to go to any length to get it, then you're ready to take certain steps. Looking at this benefit package, I was ready to take certain steps because this benefit package, living life on a spiritual basis like this, was way better than an alcoholic death. That's my other alternative. I had to find a spiritual way to live. Going to church, it seemed too difficult at that time. Now, I do find my religion my spirituality in all religions at this day. I love talking to people of different faith. I love it because I listen for that joy of God or that joy of that deity in their conversations. And I listen and I can connect to that. Yeah, I can connect to that. But at first it seemed too difficult. And the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, was the easier, softer way for a guy like me to live a principled life. I grew up in the hood where violence was the quickest answer to any problem. Where your higher power was an AK-47, which is a high-powered rifle. That was the higher power. It answered problems quickly. And I came to the room, and one of you guys that looked nothing like me raised y'all hand in the first meeting I went to and said, "Hi, I'm an alcoholic. And for some reason, when I black out, my guns magically appeared in my hands." Gave me a chill. Because I knew he wasn't from my hood. But he had to say, whoa. And then he said, "So look, I'm going to tell you like this. I ain't going to call you an alcoholic. I ain't going to try to convince you might be an alcoholic. I'm just here to tell you, you don't have to live like that no more." And that inner Derrick cried. That child in me cried. Because again, yes, I didn't want to keep living and destroying my life through drinking. But see, that little kid that was uncomfortable in his own skin, that was looking at DeMarco like, "Wow, bro, how do you know how to do this?" He didn't know how to live. And y'all told me I had a way of living that would help the little guy out. Sign me up. And then y'all said, and we ceased fighting. Oh my goodness. Then y'all told me, and we have ceased fighting anything or anyone, even alcohol, for by this time sanity will have returned. Y'all told me this insanity that I had in step 2, and me turning my wheel in my life over to the care of God was going to lead me to some sanity as I continued the process. And my real decision in step 3 was just that. How do I know if I really made the decision in step 3 to turn my will and my life over to the care of God as I understood him? Was if I made it to step 12 and had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps. And I was ready to carry this message to alcoholics and practice these principles in all my affairs. When I arrive there, I will know that I made that 3rd step decision, which again was the best decision of my life, because through that 3rd step decision, I was able to make the most sane decision I make every single day. It just happens. And that most sane decision is not to pick up that first drink. That was the first sane decision I made in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous in my life, not to pick up the first one. I thought y'all was going to just teach me how to stop from starting. But what y'all really taught me was how to be of maximum service to God and the people about me. So when I'm at the store and I see that person having a hard day, hey, I can give them some joy. I can front them a smile. When I'm in a Zoom room and I see that person with that discouraging look on their face, I can give them a Wi-Fi, baby. Wi-Fi, man. Wi-Fi. We here, baby. We here. Yeah. Because that's what y'all taught me. And it's amazing the synergy of these steps. How that decision in the 3rd step continues daily. Continue as I take personal inventory. Continues as I seek through prayer and meditation to improve my conscious contact with God as we understood him. Keep pressing, keep going forward, y'all. Yes, it says, as we understood him twice in our steps. Said it at the 3rd step, and it says it at the 11th step. Because my understanding of God at that 3rd step was drastically changed by the time I got to that 11th step. It was just different. And I didn't do it. All I did was take some actions and followed a few simple steps. And through those actions, this power greater than myself that I call God did some work for me on my behalf. And I understand what y'all mean when y'all said God did for us what we couldn't do for ourselves. Y'all, that's why I'm so grateful. I'm so happy because y'all gave me a way of living that I've been looking for since I was a child. I was so miserable in this handsome body I have today. I was so miserable in it, y'all. And y'all taught me how to find joy, even in the most darkest situations. Y'all taught me how to turn that over to the Father of light who presides over us all. Y'all taught me when I'm lost in a situation that has me bountiful to give it to creative intelligence. Y'all taught me that when I'm sad and I'm lonely, to come to a meeting where we all trudge in the road of happy destiny. Y'all, with all the wisdom of Solomon, if you ask me how this thing works, this is my answer. I'm going to go deep, y'all. I'm going to go deep. This is Solomon's wisdom right here in front of you. Derrick, how does the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous work? Beats the hell out of me, y'all. But I'm so grateful it works. And I'm so grateful that y'all kept coming back. So y'all be here. And y'all be in the rooms when this guy right here shows up to show me it works. And tell me, Derrick. We're not here to call you an alcoholic. We're not here to convince you that you might be an alcoholic. All we have to tell you is, hey, little buddy, you don't have to live like that no more. So I'm still learning to be humble, y'all. I'm trying to stay teachable. And thank God for the fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous, the fellowship of the Spirit, and thank God for God.